You're listening to Community Connection here on KGMI. I'm Crystal King, and my guest today is Ziad Youssef with MyTrafficMan.net. Welcome, Ziad.
Hi, Crystal.
I know we should be talking about MyTrafficMan.
I know, but nobody really wants to talk about MyTrafficMan today.
I want to talk about Hawks.
It's
right
about
now.
the Seahawks. Go Hawks. That's right.
We were chatting about this a little bit earlier, and I thought it was interesting how we can kind of transition into MyTrafficMan.net. So we're doing our job, right?
Right.
Talking about the Seahawks, what it is about them this year, what makes them so special, not just what they do, but where we've all jumped on this bandwagon. People who aren't even Seahawk fans love the Seahawks now. As we talked about it, we're talking because it's the characters, it's the people, it's that team, which makes them a team.
You said it. You called it. You described the way they all got together for this season, and it just made sense to me. And you can say it better than I can. You're telling them how they all got together. This group of people that were working in different environments and ended up all on the Seahawks
and
team.
So many of them were told that they can't do what they were doing, that you're too short, Russell. Derek Coleman, you're deaf. You can't play football. And it's like they brought in all these people that have been rejected, and they're like, we're stronger because of what we do. They're this ragtag little fleet that were brought together, and they are so strong together.
That's exact. I mean, when you said that, I'm like, that's exactly what we did. You know, I'm the first attorney in my family to practice law in the United States. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of the opportunity to practice law in this community. I love it here. It was almost like, well, how do you do it? No one's showing me how. I've never had that explained to me.
Did people tell you couldn't do it?
It was a challenge. I was determined to do it. It took me 6 years to get buckled down, pass the bar exam, and get licensed to practice law because I had to pay bills. I had to get caught up. And so I stayed determined with it. And when I think about the rest of the team that's with us, everybody didn't expect that they're going to end up in a law office doing what we do at MyTrafficMan.net, working with the attorneys that work with us. Annie, that runs all of our licensing and our DUI division, she comes from a real estate background, and Sydney comes from a medical billing and medical coding, and they're our top two paralegals at the office. And Megan has a sociology background, and Kaliska really just came to us as this is where she wants to be. And the attorneys all come from different. Todd, the prosecutor, who's in the office now, and Jim, you remember Jim the big stick, and we're yeah, but we are similarly. I feel like I can relate to it, and I love the Seahawks for giving us that faith that once your team comes together, you're gonna go all the way. I absolutely am excited to see them go all the way this year, this season. I want to be there with them. I'd love to go to one of the games, one of these next two games, because that's where I see it happening.
But it's a unique team, and MyTrafficMan.net is very unique.
Well, I think what we want to do here is we want to be a legal care center. We want people to come in and see that we care. We don't care just till the end of the case. We care what happens to our clients after the case is over.
Do you think that's missing when people think of legal issues that
I think
they're
absolutely.
not for me?
What happens in most cases is that the attorney gets involved, does what they think their job is, and when the case is done, they're done. The case is over. And that's not how it works. It doesn't evolve that way with clients who are either struggling with health issues, mental health issues, addiction issues, or struggling with some type of personal problems in their lives. You got to be willing to, one, understand what they are up front, and then understand what it's going to take after they're done with the case, so that you hope that they don't come back.
But you hear that the law is cold. You guys don't sound cold.
Right, because the law is just one part of the legal representation that we give at the legal care centers. And I want Bellingham to be our flagship location for that. Our ragtag team has really come together to do it. People do enjoy coming around. They do enjoy working with us. And it is serious work that we do. I mean, we are very competent at what we do. We focus on traffic-related violations. We're not trying to do people's wills. We're not trying to advise people on contract relationships. We're talking about traffic tickets, DUI offenses, traffic-related injuries, auto accidents, helping people get through the beginning of their problem to the very end of their case and beyond.
And like you said, there is definitely processes to go through that many people just kind of stay away from because they don't know what to do.
Right.
And so they continue to break the law.
Well, and we want them to come in, get an explanation because they think it's overwhelming. They don't want to deal with it. And I see it over and over. You can't just hide from it. Come in, deal with it. It's not as intimidating. It's not as expensive as you would think. And it's good information if you come in and talk to us. And people have been doing it. It's been a great response, Crystal. I got to thank you for that. You've been helping get the word out with us here. And people are coming in and getting that advice. But I feel like this next 5 years, while we're establishing the Legal Care Center, we're in the Super Bowl. We're in the legal Super Bowl right now. And it's 4 quarters or 4 years, however you want to look at it. And each quarter we've got to gain certain ground, and we're setting goals for ourselves to do better for our clients. And I want people to get used to thinking of our office not as just a law firm, but rather a care center, a legal care center. Come in for your traffic-related violations. Let us give it some attention. Let us care for you.
Well, it sounds even different when you talk about law firm and care center.
Absolutely.
Completely different feeling.
Absolutely. It's not as intimidating because it shouldn't be intimidating. The more intimidating it is, the more likely people are not going to deal with the problem. I do have to admit that we have bills to pay and we do have to charge for our service, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a part of our service that we can give you that doesn't have to cost you anything. And so I do encourage people who are facing some type of serious criminal charge or some DUI offense or even just simple traffic ticket, call and get some advice on it, and we're going to make sure you get some information to help guide you through it.
Can you also help people across the border?
A lot of Canadians call, and the impact on a Canadian citizen is different than it is for a Washington resident if you get a traffic ticket down here. But if you don't take care of your criminal problems or your traffic tickets down here, then visiting the United States isn't going to be very nice because your license might be suspended for not paying a ticket. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of Canadians come across and realize that's happened and they get arrested, and then we hear about it. So with the fact that we have many Canadians coming down now to visit, I mean, they're expanding the new hotels in town, and they're expecting a lot more visitors to come through. I do think that people should be aware that if you get a traffic ticket here or you get accused of something here, you can hire someone to kind of get you through it so you can go on back to where you're at.
Because I hear about cars being impounded.
Yeah, it's mandatory impound now on a DUI offense. So you're kind of lost not understanding the process. It's definitely worth calling or looking us up online to find out where you can get your car. I mean, not necessarily how to get your car out before the 12-hour mandatory impound. It's mandatory 12 hours. Then after that, you got court coming up. After you go to court, you've got to do a few things so that you can prepare for your next court hearing. And we'll kind of explain all of that to clients when they come in or when they call. And I'd love to let people understand that they can call us if it's just about getting relicensed. They can call us because they just got accused of a crime or they're being investigated for an offense. Mm-hmm. They can call us if they've been injured in an auto injury accident. And we have a team set up for each one of those areas. And we'll talk to you. We'll explain to you what you got to do. I'm always impressed at how my team will go through and do all the extra work. And they come and they've done plenty of work. And it never really surprises me because that's how much they care. But they've gone through and done all this research before we're even hired on a case because they're interested in really giving the client an explanation.
Now, the Legal Care Center for MyTrafficMan.net is located where?
It's right here in Bellingham. Our flagship store is at 1828 Franklin Street on the corner of Ohio and Franklin Street. You can also call at 360-734-0908.
And we're talking to Ziad Youssef with MyTrafficMan.net. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Crystal.